How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to an incredibly special video. Today is one of those rare opportunities where I have the honor to present to you a brand new card game that I think is something truly special. And I believe that like 100%. This is a game that I've been playtesting for several weeks now, and I think it is absolutely brilliant, and it has so much going for it. I have not felt this way since I first started playing Flesh and Blood, and I do not say that lightly. Flesh and Blood is literally my favorite game, and so for me to compare this to Flesh and Blood is basically the biggest honor I can give to a new card game. The game I'm talking about is Sorcery: Contested Realm. This is an upcoming card game that is currently in development. It is in, like I said, the very early stages. I'm literally playtesting this game and giving direct feedback to the creator, Erik Olafsson. And astute viewers out there may recognize that name. Erik Olafsson is the creative director for Path of Exile. In fact, he owns a percentage of Grinding Gear Games. And now, don't get me wrong here, this game is not related to Path of Exile. Grinding Gear Games is not making this. I'm just saying that the creative director for Path of Exile is making this game, and it gives it a certain degree of pedigree. I think a very high degree of pedigree, because Path of Exile is a freaking excellent game, and it's a game that I personally love. And you know, when Erik approached me about covering this game, all I needed to do was see the art, and I was hooked. This game has absolutely gorgeous artwork by old school Magic the Gathering artists. We have Drew Tucker, Liz Danforth, Melissa Benson. This game just oozes pedigree and excellence and flavor, and it is so much fun. That's one of the things that makes it truly, truly great for me, is just how fun it is and how often I find myself thinking about it and wanting to play more. I've been playing this, playtesting it with my partner Robin, and the fact that she likes it so much is huge. She is not a hardcore gamer at all, but the fact that she likes this game as much as I do says so much in favor for this game. Me, a hardcore TCG player, I love competitive games, I also like some casual games too, but the fact that she likes it so much says a lot for this. The first time we played for like 4 hours and lost track of time. So that's like the biggest praise I can say, you know, comparing it to Flesh and Blood, and then also, you know, saying that it is this much fun to play is like the biggest praise I can give this game. So what is Sorcery: Contested Realm? It is a grid-based trading card game that will be, hopefully, in Kickstarter later this year in 2021. And I will be completely honest here, 100% transparency. Erik approached me to cover the game. He sent me a bunch of decks. I will be showing off every single deck in today's video, going over the cards individually, talking about how to play the game, showing off the amazing flavor, the mechanics, kind of like a rough how to play kind of thing. And I'm also going to be backing the Kickstarter significantly. I love this game so much. I just want more of it. I want the cards. Give me the cards. I want the cards to play with. I want to build decks. I'm so excited for this. And, you know, I'm backing the Kickstarter, not because I think it's going to be investable or worth a lot of money. It might be, but that's not what I care about. I just want the game to succeed, and I want to play it more. I want my friends to play it. I want you to play it. It is so good. I'm just like almost dumbfounded that no one knows about this. So this is like the first video on YouTube talking about it to this degree. And once again, for that, I'm so honored to be a part of this and to give feedback. So like I said, I've been playtesting and I've been giving direct feedback to the creators of the game, Erik Olafsson, and they've already implemented some changes, not mechanical changes, but like rules clarity, mechanics clarity, that kind of stuff. And I'm giving it the works. I find a lot of weird corner case stuff, and so that's what I'm doing. Every time I play, I have like a little notebook. I just jot down things, questions, clarifications. The game is so flavorful that things happen. Okay, so it's a grid-based game, right? And the grid really matters. It really matters. Positioning matters. You make sites. You have units. You play on your sites. You move around on the grid. There's area of effect spells, like a fireball, for example, hits a site, and then like adjacent sites or nearby sites. At one point, my partner Robin flooded the world and drowned a bunch of dudes. Like, this is the kind of stuff you can do in the game. There's a card called Bury. What do you think Bury does, right? If you are a longtime Magic player, like, oh, destroy a creature, can't be regenerated. No, you literally bury something in the ground, like underneath a site. It just oozes flavor. And just the words on it, man, just the words. So like this card, we'll go over this in detail, Ave Ste Curiosa. The flavor, just like the typefacing says, unique relics gathered from forgotten places. Just that is the kind of things you can expect from this game. And so to give you a quick rundown before we get into all of the cards, this game is a trading card game. It will have booster packs. There will be chase cards. There will be starter decks. The decks that I'm going over today, I believe, are the starter decks. And they're kind of, you know, centers around the elements, right? Earth, wind, water, and fire. I will also be covering this game heavily on Red Zone Rogue because I freaking love it so much. When it finally comes out, it's gonna probably be a mainstay on this channel. This game is just, it's completely enamored me. It's completely like blown me away. Even at this rough stage, right? Even at this rough stage, it is this good. So what that means for you, the viewer, is that if you like this game, if you like Sorcery, if you like the look of it, definitely subscribe to Red Zone Rogue. I will be posting more on this game as it develops. When the Kickstarter, you know, officially launches or has a date, I will be posting about it. I will be sharing basically every bit of news that I find about Sorcery because I think it is that good and that worth it. It is that worth it. So don't sleep on Sorcery. Mark my words, don't sleep on this game. It is absolutely phenomenal. And with that said, let's go to the top down and take a look at cards and talk about the mechanics. I think you're all really gonna like it. Let's do it. So here we have all 4 of the starter decks, each one representing one of the 4 elements present in Sorcery Contested Realm. We have water, earth, wind, and fire. I really like the fire. I think the fire and the earth are my 2 favorites, but I think these ones could have the potential to become favorites over time. They're a little bit more tricky. I'm gonna share with you some other stuff that Eric sent me. This says, Sorcery Contested Realm. Hello, you just received a work-in-progress mock-up of a Kickstarter pre-constructed deck kit. The package contains all you need to start playing right away, and the rules can be found at this. There will be rough edges, so please let me know about any problems you run into, especially when it comes to rules, but also about balance, product design, or anything else that comes to mind. And like I said, I've already provided a lot of feedback, and I will continue to provide more feedback to Eric and the Sorcery Contested Realm team, because once again, I love this game and I really want it to be as successful as possible. So let's start talking about the decks and just showing off some cards and talking about some rules. I think the best way to do this is I'm just gonna show you some rules first, and then we'll get into like looking through all of the cards individually. So let me move these out of the way. One of the funny things I thought or found is that these deck boxes here, you can tell that these are like not official products. They're kind of like taped on, which I think is very charming. It's very charming. I can't wait to see what the official final product is going to end up looking like. And you can kind of see a little bit of like the art style here and the flavor, which is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Some of the artists in this game are classic Magic the Gathering artists, like I mentioned before. We have people like Melissa Benson, Liz Danforth, Drew Tucker, like these absolute classic Magic the Gathering artists, and it's like unbelievably good. So you basically have 2 decks and your avatar. Your avatar is your main character. It's basically you. When your avatar dies, you die. You have 20 starting life unless you're playing with the Earth avatar currently, which starts out with 26 life. Your avatar starts kind of on the middle of the board here, and this is kind of a zoomed in perspective, but your avatar starts on the middle of the board. You also have your Atlas, which consists of sites. So Your Atlas cards are the areas that you're going to play around. They provide resources, but they also have other bonuses. You can kind of think of these like lands from Magic, but not quite, not quite. They provide you resources, but they also do other stuff like Vesuvius here. It says a uniquely volatile site on the verge of calamity. And that's the caliber of flavor you can expect here. I love it. I absolutely freaking love it. If you have 3 fire insignias showing, Vesuvius may be sacrificed to deal 3 splash damage to nearby sites. Nearby specifically means, well, it means something specifically. Nearby means adjacent and diagonal. If the card says adjacent, it literally just means adjacent, cardinal directions, but nearby also includes the, the diagonals as well. So positioning, board placement, all of that stuff very much matters. So Vesuvius, for example, if you had it down here and you sacrifice Vesuvius, it would deal 3 splash damage to this target, this target, this target, all around a circle, including on itself, of course. Splash damage means it deals damage to every single unit on that space. And like I said, we're gonna go over some of this stuff as we go. But so anyway, this is your Atlas. Yeah, so this would be shuffled up and it would be set off to the side. You also have your spell book here, and we'll put the Atlas over here. Properly, it would be kind of way over here, but this mat is huge because it needs to fit this this arena. I will put like a full image of the mat up, but just note this is kind of a very, very zoomed in version for this because I wanted to get, very close and show you the cards in detail. So this is your spellbook. Every other card goes in your spellbook. There are relics, like objects you can find. Some of the relics are huge, which basically just stay in one location. They can't be picked up, like monuments and that kind of stuff. You have minions, which are like little, they're minions, right? They're units, knights, dragons, that kind of stuff. You also have spells, and you have auras, which kind of like, create wide effects. And this would also be shuffled up and set off to the side. When you start the game, you draw 3 cards from your spellbook and 3 cards from your Atlas. Your Atlas and spellbook do not get shuffled together, and I think that is a brilliant game design. Mixing your resources with your actual cards is kind of like, I'm not a big fan of that, so I'm really glad that they did it this way. So let's just draw some cards and we will show you. I didn't shuffle very well, so I got some dupes here. So let's put this ogre back and we'll draw another card. Ooh, okay, there we go. That's a good example. All right, so we're gonna assume that I gotta go first. So this is gonna play out much like Magic in that the first player does not draw a card from the top of their deck, though if you were the second player, you can choose to draw either from your spellbook or from your Atlas. Your avatar can also draw additional cards from your Atlas. You can tap your avatar to play a site or to draw from your Atlas. Your avatar is also a spellcaster. Your avatar functions kind of like a minion, but is not a minion, can't be destroyed, can't be removed, that kind of stuff. So on the first turn, you have to tap to move to a location. So in this situation, we would probably just want to tap our avatar to play one of our sites. And to play a site, you play it either on top of your avatar or near, or rather I should say adjacent to a site that you already control. So this site is the Remote Desert, an ordinary site of ruinous fire. It provides one little fire icon here, and it says Genesis. So Genesis means when you play it, do the thing. Genesis, this desert may deal 1 damage to a nearby target. You can see may is written in there. Like I said, the rules are still getting ironed out and all the cards are still getting finalized. This is a test build. So yeah, I would play this right here as my site, and then my avatar is on the site. This provides 1 resource, and then it also provides a threshold of 1 fire. So the way that resources work is you just add up the number of your sites, and that's how many resources you have, and then you have thresholds to play stuff. You don't spend the thresholds, you just need that many thresholds to play it. So for example, this sandworm here costs 4 to play, and you just need to have at least 1 fire threshold. That's it. I could play, say I had 1 fire threshold and 7. Or rather, let's say I had 1 fire threshold, 1 fire threshold and 7 sites. I could play both of these, 4 and 3, even though they each require 1 threshold. As long as I have that 1 threshold, I can play both of them. It's just like a minimum number of fire insignias that you need to do that. Pretty simple stuff. Not all sites provide a threshold. Like this River of Flame does not provide a threshold, and I've noticed that they've added like color indicators here, so you can notice that this is kind of like got this red, orange around the text box. This one does not. This is also a good time to note what some of this stuff here means. So River of Flame says a unique site where pure rage spills forth. Unique means you can only have one of them in your deck. Ordinary means you can have 4 of them in your deck. And we'll go over some of the other ones as we find them. Do we have any other ones? We got some ordinary ones. Ordinary yet volatile magic. This one's pretty sweet. Minor Explosion. So this says requires 2 fire threshold, costs 3 to play. Ordinary yet volatile magic. Look at that art, dude. Splash damage. Choose a center site up to 2 sites away from your spellcaster. Okay, so let's assume we can play this and we have our avatar out, right? This says you must cast it from your spellcaster. Not all spells you have to cast from a spellcaster. So in order to do that, you have to choose a spellcaster on the field. It does not have to be your avatar. Minions can have spellcaster as well, but you have to choose your spellcaster and then cast from the spellcaster doing what the spell says. So the spell says, choose a center site up to 2 sites away from your spellcaster. So let's say that we have another site over here, right? Let's just say that there's, we got these sites over here like this. And let's say there's our opponents over here, right? I can choose a center site 2 sites away, so I choose this one, and then you just do what it says in the box. So the center point takes 3 damage, and then all of the areas that are indicated take that much damage. There is friendly fire. You will take that much damage unless it specifically says that you don't. Splash means it hits every unit on that area. So that's why I said positioning the grid really, really matters. There are some cards that will have you randomly choose areas on the grid to like teleport to. There's just positioning, like it's really cool. It's really, really cool. Okay, so that's kind of like a basic rundown of how you play cards. Combat, if you're familiar with Magic, combat is very, very simple. So we'll say we have this Ogre Goons here. We'll have this Ogre Goons right here, and we'll use this wind deck as an example. So they'll have their location here, and then let's grab this. Ooh, this is a big one. We'll grab the big guy. We'll grab these Hounds of Onderos. And we'll say they're right here. All right, so we'll move this out, and let's grab another minion from the fire deck too to show you how blocking works. We'll just use this camel. Well, camel's lame. Let's use something cooler. We'll use this, let's find that dragon. There's a really cool dragon in here. Yeah, we'll get the dragon. All right, so let's say it's our opponent's turn. These are our current minions, right? They want to attack us. In order to attack someone, if you have ranged on your card, you can just, so like this dragon has range. He has airborne, range +1, and splash damage, which he's quite good. So what range means is you do not have to be in melee range to attack. So range means I can attack from here. You tap to attack. I can attack from here onto like this location if our enemy was on there. Airborne means you can move your units diagonally. Normally you cannot. And it also means that non-airborne units or units with range cannot attack the airborne units. Flavor-wise, makes sense, right? So this dragon, technically, if it was my turn, could attack diagonally into this Hounds. Ranged airborne units are the only ones that can attack diagonally because they can also move diagonally. And that's because when you move into a unit, you automatically initiate combat. You are basically forced to do it. You can't choose not to, I guess, unless the card says. But so yeah, in this situation, let's say our opponent is playing with this Hounds, right? So the Hounds is a big beefy boy, costs 8 to play, has a 2 wind threshold. This is attack right here and health. So like if you're familiar with Magic, once again, your attack and defense are lumped into this number, right? You need to get to this number to destroy the unit, and damage wears off at the end of turn. Just like Magic, damage is not persistent. So this card says, no place is safe from these elite demons. Elite means you can only have 2 in your deck. So ordinary means 4, exceptional means 3, elite means 2, and unique means 1. So you can kind of tell the power level of it based on that. This card has airborne, voidwalk, burrowing, submerge, and nearby stealth is negated. So that's a lot of keywords to come at you all at once. Basically for this situation, it's not really going to matter all that much, but I'll kind of go over to them. I'll kind of go over them really quick. So airborne is like what I said, that ground units cannot block if they're attacking, and they can also move diagonally. Voidwalk means that they can move into spaces that do not have sights. They can move into the void. So spaces that don't have sights are the void. So Voidwalk units can move into those spaces. Burrowing and submerge are both very, very interesting mechanics. So burrowing means if you are on a space that is not water, you can tap to burrow under the space. Now, once you're burrowed, you can't move, but you can pop up to attack. It also means that you cannot be targeted or damaged if you are burrowed, unless the card specifically says otherwise. You can also block too. So say someone was going to attack this location, say these ogres are going to attack this location, I could tap to block and then unburrow, and then combat would initiate. We'll talk about combat very, very shortly. But I just wanted to get all that stuff out of the way. Okay, so back to our situation here. Opponent's turn. They are going to move their unit and attack my ogre goons. So my ogre goons have 4. They have 4 health and 4 damage. And then the Hounds of Andros have 5, right? So normally, if I didn't want to do anything, if I didn't want to block or anything, that the Hounds would deal 4 damage to, or the Hounds would deal 5 damage to the ogres, and the ogres would deal 4 damage. The ogres would die, and then this would have 4 damage on it for the turn. And so if I had any fast effects, like a lightning bolt or something, I could bolt it and then kill it. However, in this situation, when they're attacking, I can also choose to block. And so I have this ancient dragon right here, and I'm like, yo, I don't want my ogres to die, or at the very least, I want these hounds to die. So what I'm gonna do is I will tap my ancient dragon. You have to tap them to block. I will tap to block, and I will move him from this unit, or from this site, over to this site. Now I can also do that if it was on this site. I could also do it if there was a site here as well. Since I have flying, I could also do diagonally. But yes, I will be moving him over to block. So the way blocking works is very close to Magic. You just add the numbers up, and I do believe the attacker chooses how the damage is dealt. So in this situation, you would basically lose your Ancient Dragon. So they would deal 5 damage, probably all to the Ancient Dragon, but then the Ancient Dragon and the Ogres would deal all the damage back to here. So this is a good situation where they would cause a trade. Honestly, unless they had some other shenanigans going on, I probably wouldn't make this trade, because they could attack here, kill the Ogre Goons, and then on my turn, since the Ancient Dragon has range and he deals 5 damage, I would just range attack them from here to deal 5 damage and kill this. So I would get to keep my dragon here. Ranged is exactly what you would think. It deals range damage. This doesn't hit back at all. As the current rules are written, even if this had range, it would not hit back at all. Range is kind of like a free hit, basically. The way you kill your opponent is by attacking their avatar directly for damage. So once again, the Hounds could attack the avatar directly. I could choose to block, if I could. But say this one, say I don't have anything to block. The Hounds just deal 5 damage to my avatar. They just take 5 damage, right? You could also attack sites directly. So if there are no units on a site, you can attack the site directly. Now, the direct attacks deal damage directly to your avatar. So this would deal damage, 5 direct damage to the player. And if I had a unit here, I would not be able to block. This is a way to, finish the game, to close it out quickly. If there are undefended sites, you cannot block a direct attack, right? So if this was coming in, could not block it. Just a good way to close out the game. The those are the basic rules of the game. A couple things other to note: if you're able to get your opponent's avatar down to 0, you still need to deal them 1 more direct damage to finish them off. They're put on what's called Death's Door. So if you have some cheesy effects that makes them lose life every turn, and there's some of that stuff in here, you still need to do them 1 final blow to kill them off. And I'll share with you a story as we go over some of these cards that have to do with that. So that's kind of a basic rundown of how combat works. I apologize if it was a little bit complicated. I kind of want to get some gameplay. On this on the channel. It's just hard to film because the grid is so large. But yeah, basically you take turns playing units, moving units, playing sites. There's some crazy cards that blow up sites and just some crazy stuff. So we'll talk about all of that, and I'll talk about more about the rules as we get going. Like I said, there's some really crazy stuff. It'll be a lot of fun to like finally build some decks and to go like really deep on it, because I've just been playing with these starter decks. But yeah, I think that's a good base. That's a good baseline. So let's start talking about some of the cards individually. I think since we started with this fire deck, let's go over some of the fire cards. So each avatar has a special ability, in addition to just being your avatar. So all of your avatars have this ability to tap to play a site or tap to draw from your atlas. And it also has the ability, tap and discard a fire site. And like I said, the fire sites are the ones that have the little fire icon. This card's so good. The fire avatar is so good. Tap and discard a fire site from your hand to cast a fireball, and then it has a URL to go look up the fireball. We also have the fireball in the deck. So the fire avatar gets to freaking cast this fireball. I'm pretty sure you still need to have this threshold, the 4 and the 1 there. I don't think you just get to do it. I think you still have to pay for it. But a fireball is an exceptional magic and straightforward destruction. Oh, I just love the flavor here. It has actual meaning in the game, but it also is just so flavorful. It says, travel in a cardinal direction from your spellcaster. The fireball explodes when it hits an enemy, and then it does 4, and then 2 in the cardinal directions, and then 1 in the corners. Really good. I finished off Robin in the last game we played by lobbing a fireball from across the field. It was really sweet. So yeah, that's what the avatar of fire does. That's what fireball does. And once again, exceptional means I believe you can have 3 of them in your deck. Elite means 2. We already went over minor explosion. Like, once again, I love these AoE effects, like positioning and all this stuff. It really matters. The grids aren't just here just to be here, and the numbers here, which are handwritten by someone who worked on this game. I think it's actually pretty funny because these are actually really relevant, because there are sometimes you roll dice and then you move to that number, and we'll go over those when they come. This is a sandworm. Cost 4 to play, has 5 attack, pretty good. It has burrowing, and I kind of already talked about burrowing, but it also has firebound. Firebound means it can't move outside of a fire location, and if it does, it dies immediately. So there was a game that we played where Robin turned all of our lands, she basically flooded the world, and turned all of my lands into water locations, killing my sandworms because they drowned. They drowned. Pretty crazy stuff. Here we have the Ogre Goons. Low cost, 4 attack, but they have to attack an enemy minion if possible. We have the Ancient Dragon we talked about. Really good card. Airborne, range 1, and splash. The fact that it has ranged, airborne, and splash means it can attack diagonally, and it hits every single unit on that location, which is why it costs 7 to play. It's a really good card. The Ralleigh Dragonettes. Oh, by the way, I should say the flavor on these. An elite dragon rules with fear and flame. So you can have 2 of these in your deck, which is quite good. Ralleigh Dragonettes. I think this card's actually really good. Cost 4, has a 2 attack. Exceptional Dragonettes designed or destined to rule. So it has airborne. And it says, at the end of your turn, these Dragonettes fire 3 bolts, each in any cardinal direction. Each bolt deals 1 damage to the first enemy it hits. This card dealt so much damage throughout my game because I just had it back and it just pinged off my opponent for 3 every turn. Here we have this camel. This Ralleigh dromedary just has a 1 cost, 2, and then some flavor, which is really nice. This is an ordinary and superbly indifferent beast. He's just like, Oh, this card's awesome. Okay, Doomsday Device, a unique relic of impending doom. Once again, unique means you can only have 1 in your deck. This says, At the start of your turn, put a counter on Doomsday device. When there are 3 counters on the device, it detonates. It deals 20 damage at the center of like the ground zero, the center of the explosion, and then it just radiates out for an absurd amount of damage. The way relics work, by the way, I'll use this camel as an example. So the way relics work, and here let's grab a location just to make it look like you're actually playing the game. So say you have this camel, and I want to play this relic, right? So when you play a relic, you can either automatically have your minion pick it up, or say that it's here. So I played it here and I have no minions. Later, I could play my camel, and minions do have summoning sickness, right? I can't move or attack the turn that I play this or use any tap abilities. However, I can tap the relic to have my unit pick it up. The same thing happens to drop it, right? So if you wanted to drop the relic, say that your plan was to get your Doomsday device, right? Play it on your camel, and then get your camel over to your opponent's base, and then drop it. All you need to do was to rest the Doomsday device to drop it. And then your opponent could pick it up too. Same way, they could rest the device to pick it up. So yeah, very interesting. Really, really cool. Like I said, I love the flavor. There's some crazy stuff you can do in this game. And that's those rules are for any relics, by the way. You can even pick up, like I said, you can pick up your opponent's relics, which is relevant. Sometimes if you kill their minion and they drop the relic, yo, you can take it. You can take that relic. All right, so yeah, let's get back to looking at the cards. We looked at the camel. Will-o'-the-Wisp. This is a very interesting card. Costs 3 to play, has a 1 fire threshold, does 1 damage here. An Exceptional Spirit flares up and disappears. It has Void Walk, so it can go into the spaces with no sights. After combat, when attacking, you may move this wisp 1 step from a site to an adjacent void location. So this card's not that great in attacking minions because it would die in the combat, but what it is great is attacking directly. So you can do a direct attack on your opponent's site and then immediately flit off into the side so they can't attack it, which is pretty good. We have another minor explosion. We have some Sacred Scarabs with art by Melissa Benson, which is freaking awesome. 2 cost, 1 damage. It says Ordinary Beasts of Eruptive Retribution. Airborne, and then on death, they explode. Robin did some cheeky stuff with an Ice Lance that hit multiple units in a row, and then hit my Scarab, and then blew up and killed all of my dudes on the location because my Scarabs blew up. You don't want to pile the Scarabs with your dudes. Next up, we have some Quarrelsome Kobolds. 4 cost, 2 threshold, 3 attack. At the end of your turn, these kobolds must deal 3 damage to a nearby minion. Yeah, you just you want to make sure they're near your opponent's minions because they're going to hit your minions if they're not. We have Rattlesnakes. 2 cost, 1 attack. Has Burrowing, which means you can hide it underground, but it also means, or it also has Lethal. So this is a really good trap. So you can burrow it underground, and if they ever encroach upon your land, you can be like, yeah, rattlesnake, bite your guy, kill it. That literally means lethal means if it does damage, it dies. We have more Ogre Goons. Ooh, this one's another really cool one. Eric's Curiosa. So it's a 3 cost, unique relics gathered from forgotten places. Summon in a corner void. So any corner void in the world, you can summon this card. I've basically just put it in my void, kind of like near my base, and so I can just go and pick it up because when the Curiosa is picked up for the first time by an avatar, the avatar's owner draws 3 spells. This destroys the Curiosa. Really sweet card. Next up, we have the Wayfaring Pilgrim, 2 cost, 1, an Elite Mortal on a spiritual journey. Elite means you can only have 2 in your deck. It's a spellcaster, so you can use this guy to cast your spells. So that's pretty cool for positioning purposes. When this pilgrim visits or is summoned to a corner of the world for the first time, draw a card. Just pretty good. Pretty good. So if you can kind of like set up a location in the corner, which is something you might want to do if you're running these cards, you just, boom, summon them in the corner, draw some cards. Next up, we have the Rimland Nomads. 2 cost, 2 attack, fire threshold. This is a pretty good card. It says movement +1 and fire immunity. That does exactly what you think it does. It is immune to fire. So immune to all of your, fireballs, immune to all that kind of stuff. Ordinary mortals on an extraordinary journey. Look at the art, man. Art is so good. We've got a couple of these. Oh, movement +1 is exactly what you think it does. So normally you can only move 1 space. This means you can move 2. Pretty simple stuff. Doomsday Prophet, 3 cost, 1 attack, but it says an elite mortal prognosticating the end. Spellcaster and magic damage near the Prophet is doubled. I've also done some crazy stuff with this card, especially in conjunction with like Fireball, though Fireball, you gotta be careful. You could kill itself. Yeah, pretty good. Next up we have Clamor Harpies. 4 cost, 3 attack, exceptional mythics on a feeding frenzy. Airborne, Genesis, move the weaker enemy minion from anywhere in the realm to the Harpy's location. So, anywhere in the realm, very, you know, just, it's very self-explanatory. The realm is the entire game space. So you just gotta move any weak enemy onto the location to kill them off. This is really good for killing off some pesky minions your opponent has like back in their back lines. We have Flash Fires. This card it made a pretty good story when we played last. So Flash Fires is a 5 cost, 2 threshold spell. It says exceptional magic of persistent destruction. Play near your spellcaster. Flash Fires deals 4 splash damage wherever it's summoned or moves to. At the start of your turn, it moves to an adjacent, previously unburned site. And that's pretty, like I said, flavor. It's all flavor, right? So if it's on a site, the site gets burned and you move it around to unburned sites. So the one thing that happened, this was the game where Robin flooded the world. And I was like, well, do the Flash Fires go out? It doesn't say that it goes out, but the world is flooded. We ruled that since it's magic fire, it didn't go out. It was like burning on the water. But it did get to a point where it got trapped in a corner and just stayed there. It doesn't say it goes away, so it couldn't move anywhere else because everywhere else was burned, so it just stayed in the corner. Yeah, this is a pretty interesting card. Next, it was the Hillock Basilisk. This card's nuts. This is a 3 cost, 3 attack, an exceptional mythic with a stony stare. Minions on sites directly in front of the Basilisk are petrified. They lose all abilities and can't fight or move. Yeah, so if the Basilisk's here, minions over here in front of it, they cannot attack or move because they are stone. Here we have Major Explosion, 7 cost, elite magic of brutal destruction. Splash damage, choose a center site up to 2 sites away from your spellcaster, and it does 7 damage and then radiates out. Really good, just really good. We have another Melissa Benson artwork, Infernal Legion. This is a pretty big one. It costs 7 to play and requires a threshold of 4 and has attack of 5. An elite undead army in flames. At the end of each turn, this legion deals 1 damage to nearby avatars and minions. Once again, nearby means basically anything in the circle. So it just like pings everything. Yeah, pretty good. We have more Scarabs. Cerberus in Chains, another really flavorful card. 3 cost, 5 attack, pretty good rate. 2 fire threshold, an exceptional demon on a short leash. This Cerberus is chained to the location where it was summoned and can't move more than 1 step away. Once again, absolute flavor. So it's chained and it can't move more than 1 step away. Really, really cool. We have some more Harpies, more Sandworms. Heat Ray is pretty good. 2 cost. Deal 2 splash damage in a line in any cardinal direction from the spellcaster. So that's the entire line. It just does the whole line. So 2 damage all the way across. Ordinary magic to keep enemies in line. I love it. We have the Camel. Camel's just, like I said, 1 cost, 2 attack. Very generic card. We have Fireball. Incinerate is really sweet. Ordinary magic in these draconic realms. Ordinary magic in these draconic realms. Deal 5 splash damage to target location near your spellcaster or dragon. Really cool. 5 splash damage on a location is a lot. We have another Wayfaring Pilgrim. We have more Rattlesnakes. Black Scorpions, pretty close to the Rattlesnakes. They have 2 attack. They have 3 cost, and they're lethal. Ordinary Beast, scour this site. And then more Scorpions. So yeah, that is the fire deck. I think this is one of my favorite decks to play. It's a lot of fun. Let's quickly go over the sites, but the sites are pretty. I don't say generic, but they're not like super flashy. But some of these are pretty good. So we have Arid Desert. It's an ordinary site with a little fire. Genesis may deal 1 damage to a nearby target. Stonehenge is pretty cool. Does not have any threshold, but it's a unique site where ley lines converge. Minions here have Spellcaster, which is cool. You can have your little dragons have Spellcaster. We have Vesuvius that we already talked about. Really, really good. Blows up, does some AoE damage. Cornerstone is very interesting, an exceptional site to expand your domain. This Cornerstone may be played in an unconnected, empty corner location. So this is one of the cards that you're able to play in far off locations. Pretty good. We have Red Desert, same kind of deal, deals 1 damage. Remote Desert, deal 1 damage. Shifting Sands. Genesis, minions you summon nearby can move and attack or use abilities right away. So basically gives all your dudes haste for the turn that you play them nearby. Quite good. Red Desert, deal damage. Shifting Sands, that's the haste card. Remote Desert, deal some damage. Remote Desert, deal some damage. Another Cornerstone. Another Stonehenge. Does this have 2 Stonehenges? I'll have to see that. I didn't realize this. It has 2 Stonehenges, but Stonehenge is unique. You can only have 1 in your deck. I might have to swap out some cards here. I don't know why this has 2 Stonehenges in it. Anyway, Remote Desert. Ooh, River of Flame. This is a unique site where pure rage spills forth. So if you have 2 fire thresholds, it says, if you cast 2 fire spells in a single turn, you may move this site to a free adjacent location. That's pretty good. So you can use this to advance your domain. And then of course, another Arid Desert. So yeah, you can kind of see the flavor here with the fire deck. Does a lot of damage. So let's take a look at some of the other decks. All right, so that was the fire deck. What better one to choose next than the water deck? I do believe the water deck is probably one of the most difficult ones to pilot at first, at least for us. So this is the Avatar Water, your avatar of charm and trickery. Oh, I didn't read what it said on this one. It says your avatar of desire and destruction. Beautiful. It says, spellcaster, tap to play a site or to draw from your atlas, moves freely within a body of water. And once again, pretty self-explanatory. A body of water is a group of connected water sites, and moves freely means you can move freely among them. It's like infinite movement plus movement, but I'm pretty sure you can only do it once. You can't just like move and then move and then move. I'm pretty sure you just tap and you move once. Pretty sure that's what it means. Anyway, Avatar Water, beautiful. Here are all of the locations. Let's go over the locations first for water because this one's interesting. So Tadpole Pool, a unique breeding site for croakers. It says for 3 water threshold Genesis, summon a 1 power frog token here. I'm pretty sure Eric told me this is incorrect. This is a misprint. It's actually 3 or 4 frog tokens. I don't remember what he wrote me. These are the tokens, by the way. We'll talk about these little foot soldier tokens later, but here are the frog tokens. They just have 1 attack and it says submerge, an ordinary and annoying beast. And so we have some different little cute little frog tokens. Look at these little buggers. So yeah, that's what the Tadpole Pool does. This one is a floodplain. I think the water sites are some of my favorite ones in the entire game, by the way. So here we have floodplain, an exceptional site of an overwhelming flow. I almost read that weird. An exceptional site of an overwhelming flow. Genesis, adjacent sites become water sites until end of turn. Pretty good for killing your opponent's stuff that has firebound because it turns them into water sites. Spring River. So this is one of the common ones. You have a lot of these. So it's an ordinary site of refreshing water. Genesis, look at the top card of your spellbook. You may put it on the bottom of your spellbook. Super good. Super, super good. Autumn River, same thing. You gotta look at the top card. We have Undertow. Genesis, move a minion in the same body of water to this site. Very cool. Another Tadpole Pool. I guess, I'm very curious about the unique thing on these. I'm gonna ask, this is a thing that I will note. I did not notice this before. I will send an email to Eric and ask him about it. Yeah, Tadpole Pool says unique site for breeding croakers. It might be an elite. Might be elite and not unique. Anyway, summons a bunch of frogs. Summer River, same kind of deal. Look at the top card. Floodplain. Oh, this one's cool. Leviathan Island. So this is an elite site of monstrous proportions. Let's get this on the screen. This one's really, really cool. You need an absurd threshold. I think this is 7. It says the island can defend itself with a power of 7 until defeated once, which is awesome. We have another river, another river, another river, another river. Maelstrom. So Maelstrom says a unique site of, what is this word? Ineluctable malevolence. So for a threshold of 2 water, Genesis, move all minions and avatars 1 step towards the Maelstrom. Because pretty good. Can kind of throw off your opponent's like plans if they have everything all set up. Autumn River. And that's the final one. Yeah, I think the water sites are some of my favorite ones in the game. Really, really like the water sites. The water deck in general is pretty good, but it's way more tricky than the other ones. So this is a Coral Reef Kelpie. Once again, Melissa Benson art. Just look at that, man. 3 cost, 3 attack, an ordinary beast of the tidal wilderness. It has Submerge. Okay, so Submerge is very similar to Burrow, but it has a couple key differences, right? So let's get a water location. So this floodplain is a water location, right? So let's say we have this floodplain here. When you play a card with Submerge, when you play it, I don't believe you can have it already submerged. For Burrow, you can have it already burrowed, like pre-burrowed. I don't think that's true for Submerged. You have to play it, and then you have to tap to submerge it. While it's submerged, it's very similar to Burrow. It can't be targeted. However, other minions that are submerged can attack it. Imagine like a second plane underneath the battlefield that's water, right? So the water, things that are swimming can fight other things that are swimming. Somehow, if something gets submerged that does not have submerged, it drowns and dies. If something has burrow, or something gets burrowed and doesn't have burrow, it is stuck there. Doesn't immediately die, but it's stuck there. If it gets submerged and doesn't have submerge, it drowns, which is also pretty cool. Yeah, so this has submerge. You can also move. So like, say I have another water site near here, and I'm submerged. I can move the same way you'd normally move from one site to another site while still submerged, swimming from one site to another. You can't do that while burrowed, unless the card says you can, which is, one of the cards in the Earth deck does do that. But burrowed just means like they're in the ground. They're just kind of in the ground waiting to pop up. Submerged is a little different in that it's more free form. You can attack and move. Well, you can attack while burrowed, but while submerged you can move, and then you can affect them if you're also submerged. So yeah, that's what submerge is. It's an interesting mechanic. You can only submerge, as you would guess, on a water location, just like you can only burrow in a non-water location. So once again, sites and positioning and the grid, they all really matter. Here we have some polar bears. Polar bears, 3 attack, 2 cost, 2 threshold. This card's really cool. Ordinary beasts of extreme latitudes. These bears can move between locations at the top and bottom edges of the realm as if they were adjacent. That's awesome. So you can move here, say at the bottom, move down, and then appear at the top. Really cool. Really, really cool. We have Mother Nature. So this is a 6-drop with 3 attack, an elite mythic of divine fecundity. So it's a mobile, which means, obviously can't move. Once per turn, when you play a minion nearby, draw a spell. Really freaking good. I love this card. Sedge Crabs. So the crabs have a 2 water threshold, 2 attack, or a 2 cost, 3 attack. Exceptional beasts that scrape and sidle. It has iron skin, and the crabs can only move sideways because they're crabs. Of course they can only move sideways because they're crabs. Iron skin means it requires double damage to kill. So it does 3 damage here, but it requires 6 to kill. Oh, okay. This card is ridiculous and caused one of the most hilarious things I've seen yet in the game. So this is the this is a big bullfrog. It's a big old bullfrog boy. Brobdingnag bullfrog. 5-drop, 3 attack, but it's an exceptional beast with a giant appetite. Oh, giant's right. The bullfrog swallows and carries the first minion it attacks in its belly until it leaves play. All right, so it eats the first minion. It doesn't say size restriction. It says it eats the first minion. All right, let me go grab a minion that my bullfrog ate because it's hilarious. Where? Yeah, here we go. So this is a mountain giant. It's huge. It's literally as big as a mountain. It has an 8-drop, requires 2 earth, and has 6. It has iron skin. This is a big chunky boy. Requires 12 damage to kill. It's an exceptional mythic of geographical proportions. Occupies 4 sites. That means when you play this, you put it in the middle and it occupies all 4 sites. And then when you move between all 4 sites. It is massive. My bullfrog ate this mountain giant. Just freaking ate it. Just ate it, dude. So yeah, there's some crazy stuff like that can happen in the game. Really, really cool. Once again, I love the flavor. It's so much fun. So much fun. Here we have a dodge roll. So this is our first quick spell. So costs 0. And I think all the quick spells cost 0 because otherwise it wouldn't make sense on how the rules work. But it does have a threshold of 2. And it says ordinary, quick, and nimble magic. Target a minion in harm's way, or target minion in harm's way moves to an adjacent location. If successful, disjoints attacks and spells. Okay, so the way that quick spells work are kind of like instants in Magic, where your opponent, say they go in for an attack, you have an opportunity to use tap effects or quick magic. Now, the way the rules work with resources, you gain resources equal to your sites at the start of your turn and when you play the sites. So say you had 3 sites and then you play a site, you automatically get that extra one. So it would be 4 total. You don't necessarily get the resources on your opponent's turn. So I think all of the quick spells just cost 0 because of that. But they have thresholds, so you have to have at least, you know, that many of the water symbol to even be able to play this. But yeah, very interesting. Cool stuff. Next up, we have a big boy, the Diluvian Kraken. So it's a 7-drop with 7 attack and requires 4 water pips, an elite monster of far-reaching terror. It has Submerged. Whenever this Kraken surfaces, it attacks all nearby enemies simultaneously. So you want to submerge this. I got a site mixed in there. You want to submerge this big boy and then pop up and then just wreck everything and then pop back down. This card's awesome. Next up we have Marine Voyage. Cost 2. It's an exceptional magic of course correction. Rearrange your minions on one body of water in any way you like. Pretty good. You just rearrange all your minions, set up for a really big turn. Oh, here's the Ice Lance card I mentioned earlier. Ice Lance has a cost of 3 and 1 water threshold. Exceptional magic of cold precision. Deal 4, 3, 2, and 1 damage to targeted minions in a line from your spellcaster. So it says targeted minions, it only hits 1, doesn't hit every minion on the spot like Splash does, but it does 4, 3, 2, and 1. And it ended up killing, at the end of the chain, doing 2 damage to my, the beetles, which then exploded and did more damage and killed all my dudes. Ice Lance is pretty good. Okay, this card's crazy. This is the one that this is Flood the World. So, Wrath of the Sea. It's a 5-drop, 2 water threshold, elite magic of Great Deluge. Sites near water also become water sites until end of turn. Submerge any minions and relics on water sites. Remember what I said? Where if a minion that does not have submerge gets submerged, it immediately drowns and dies. And also remember what I said where basically she flooded the entire world because the board was set up in such a way that all of her spaces were near my spaces. And since they were near, they all became flooded and basically killed all of my dudes. Which is a huge bummer. Great card, really cool and flavorful. But like I said, we were like, does this card like put out the flash fires that are burning? We're like, well, it doesn't say it puts out the flash fires, so we'll just say that the fires are magic, so it doesn't put it out. Anyway, cool stuff. So this is a Sea Serpent. This is the water version of that Fireworm. So 4 cost, 5 attack, Submerge, and Waterbound. So it has Submerged instead of Burrow, and Waterbound instead of Firebound. Pretty good, got a couple of those. We have the Swan Maidens, got some Swan Maidens. 2 cost, 2 attack, Airborne, and Submerge. Pretty good. So I can move diagonal. It has Submerge, so you can Submerge, do all that Submerge shenanigans. We have some Polar Bears. Once again, Polar Bears, they can boop, boop. Pac-Man. Get another dodge roll. Polar Explorers. They're kind of like super polar bears. So it costs 2 threshold, and 2 attack. Elite mortals on an extreme expedition. These explorers and allied minions moving together with them can move between sites at the top and bottom edges of the world as they were adjacent. So I think it's one of the few cards where you can have units move together and they just like move and then Pac-Man in. Really cool. Swamp Buffalo. It's just a 1-drop, 2 attack. I think all the decks have something similar to this. Upwelling, another freaking awesome card. So it's a 5-drop with 2 water threshold, exceptional magic of Fluid Undoing. Unsummon target site and everything on it. So yeah, you can bounce their site and everything on it back to their hand. I will note that you cannot remove avatars. So if there are avatars on it, they just stay there. But everything else gets bounced back. This is Amauri Undine. So this is a 3-drop, 2 threshold, 0 attack, which just means any damage that is dealt to it automatically kills it. An exceptional elemental mythic, Submerged. Amauri Undine gains +1 power for each site that forms in the body of water she's in. She can get huge, dude. I've seen her up to like 10. Ridiculous. We have the Unland Angler, 5-drop, 2 water, 5 attack. An exceptional beast lurks and lures. Look at the art on this card. Look at this art, dude. Drew Tucker, amazing. So Submerge. This angler baits the location directly in front of it. So if it was here, it would be baiting that location. Enemy minions near that location must move towards the bait. If able, the angler can only attack minions on a site directly in front of it. Really cool, really flavorful. Swamp Buffalo, another Ice Lance, another Swan Maidens, Riptide. So this is a 2-drop, 1 water threshold, ordinary magic to trap the unwary. Move target minion to an adjacent water site. Draw spell. Pretty good. So this one just says move target minion to an adjacent water site, draw spell. It doesn't have to have any proximity to your spellcaster, so you can just pick anyone on the field. And you can use it to pull them into you, which is great. We have Tide Naiads. So 3-drop, 3 attack. This is exceptional mythics come crashing in. Submerge. These Naiads move freely within a body of water. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. We have the Mega Amoeba. This card is nuts. So it's a 3-drop, but has 3 threshold, 0 attack. The amoeba gets +1 power for each site it's visited. It continues to occupy those sites. So get some counters, basically. Get some amoeba counters and track all the sites that the amoeba stays on. An elite monster expands its influence. Another Kelpie. Frost Nova is awesome. Exceptional magic of explosive cold. Deal 3 damage to minions around the spellcaster and 1 damage to minions 1 step further than that. Tap damage minions. They do not tap the next turn. You can see the damage here. Really sweet. Really like the Frost Nova. Got another Bullfrog. Deep Sea Mermaids. 3-drop, 2 attack. Submerge. When you play it, draw a card. Or draw a spell. Really good. Really, really good. Another Eric's Curioso. Like I said, I already talked about this one. It's one you put in the corner, and then whenever an avatar picks it up, they can draw 3 cards. Ooh, Flood. This is another one. So this is a 4-drop, requires 4 water. An exceptional aura of severe overflow. Okay, so this is the first aura we've seen. Other than the fire card, the flash fires, but it wasn't technically an aura. It was just a weird thing. Conjure on 2 or 4 locations of which at least 1 is a water site. So you can put it like in between or at the crossroads right there. Affected sites are also water sites, so you can flood just a bunch of stuff. So you could use this in conjunction with the card that floods the world to flood some sites and then expand that flooding over to other sites. Like I said, really tricky stuff with this deck. It's not just like kill your guy. It's like drown him in a, drown him in the Dread Tide. Great old one. I think this is the biggest creature in the game. So this is an 8-drop, 4 threshold, 12. Freaking 12. A unique monster stirs beneath the surface. Submerged, always submerged. The old one can only surface to fight an enemy at its location. And it's always submerged. So it always just like pops up, deals some damage, and then pops back down. Normally when you pop up, you stay up, so your opponent has a chance to retaliate. He doesn't. He's just like, and then pops back down. Pain in the butt, that card. We have Yokai Kappa. As you can see, this is just some temporary art. 2-drop, 2 attack, an elite demon of fluid trickery. Has Iron Skin, pretty good, so doubles the health. Doesn't double the attack, just the health. Yokai's Kappa site is also a water site. Once again, you can kind of spread some water. And then we have another Sea Serpent. So yeah, that is the water deck. I do like the water deck quite a bit. I think the next time Robin and I play, we are going to do water versus wind and then fire versus earth. I think those are going to be some pretty good matchups. Or rather, I think earth and water are probably a pretty good matchup. Earth is a chunky deck. We'll show Earth now. Earth is a chunky deck. Earth I can see being really hard to deal with if you're wind, or maybe even fire. So here we have Avatar of Earth, same kind of deal. Spellcaster, tap to play a site or draw from your Atlas. You start on 26 life, so you have 6 more starting life. Your avatar of dependable strength. Awesome. All right, so got the Screaming Skull. Let's go over the sites real quick, and then we'll talk about the spellbook. So this is a simple village, an ordinary site of fertile earth. Genesis, summon a 1-power soldier token. One of these little guys. And I'll show you all of them because there's different art, which I really love. One thing I need to ask Eric about, these are all foot soldier tokens. They'll have some like flavor text on them. One thing I don't know about these foot soldier tokens, how are the tokens going to come in booster packs? I need to ask Eric about that. Because booster packs are going to be like, regular booster packs where you can pull cards, get chase hits, like unique cards and that kind of stuff. How are the little tokens going to come in those? Maybe they'll be bigger for that. Maybe these ones are just smaller for the test version. I don't know. Or maybe the tokens come in starter decks. I don't know. Anyway, the village creates a token. The Earth village, or the Earth deck, basically swarms the board with a bunch of little dudes because you play a lot of these. Quagmire, an exceptional site of temporary impediment. So it says Genesis, nearby grounded minions can't move or attack until the start of your next turn. Pretty good. Just sticks them all in the ground. Vantage Hills, ranged minions here gain +1 range. Also pretty good. As a note, these generate Earth Threshold. We have another village, makes a little dude. Rift Valley, freaking awesome artwork, like absolutely amazing. This is by Dan Seagrave. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. A unique site of startling displacement. God, it just looks so freaking cool. This reminds me of Kaer Morhen. I just realized that. Reminds me of Kaer Morhen from The Witcher. Anyway, for over 2 threshold, you may pull apart a partial row or column of sites to make a void in which to play the valley. So basically, you just like scooch everything over. Plop this down. Another village, another Quagmire, secret tunnel. Man, look at the freaking art. It's so sweet. Exceptional site to help in times of trouble. Your minions that unburrow may do so here. Your minions that unburrow may do so here. Oh, okay, I got it. So you can unburrow minions from anywhere else on the field, and they unburrow here. We haven't actually played with this card. I get how it does. So basically, you can burrow somewhere else, and then when you unburrow, you can choose to unburrow at this location. That's really cool. Holy Ground. So an exceptional site of spiritual strength. This card's great. Genesis, nearby friendly minions gain +1 power. That's just until end of turn, I believe. I believe that's just until end of turn. Yeah. A couple of those. I think this is one of the cards that I asked Eric about, and I think he's fixing on the subsequent prints, that it's should say until end of turn. Rustic Village, an ordinary site of fertile earth. Generate a little dude. Generate a little dude. +1 range. Generate a dude. Generate a dude. Generate a dude. So that is the Atlas for the Earth deck. They all do great stuff. So like, does damage, lets you kind of like do card selection, create some dudes. The Wind deck is the interesting one. It actually ramps you, gives you more resources, which is quite interesting. All right, so here is the Earth Spellbook. We start off with the Screaming Skull. Once again, Melissa Benson artwork looks so good. So 3-drop, an exceptional runed relic of strength. Genesis, the bearer of the skull can move, attack, or use tab abilities the same turn it's summoned. The bearer of the skull gains +1 power. So you can actually put this on your avatar and gives your avatar +1 power. Your avatar normally does not have any power, but you can give it power if you give it relics. So keep that in mind. Pretty powerful on your avatar. Pretty powerful on other stuff too, because you can, pick up the skull, have other dudes pick up the skull. We got some Wild Boars. Once again, pretty common card. 1-drop, 2 attack. Ordinary Boars, or Ordinary Beasts of Bold Black Bristle. Got a good old Siege Ballista, an exceptional relic of death from afar. Tap the Ballista and another friendly minion, I love the flavor, on the same site to deal 3 damage to a target up to 2 steps away in a cardinal direction. So the Ballista just kind of like chills, and then you can like fire the Ballista, deal some damage. Really cool. What's also cool is that you can, have the units pick up the Ballista, move it around. Yeah, really sweet. We have the Royal Surveyor. 1 attack, 3-drop with 2 Earth Threshold. An exceptional mortal privileges the crown. Privileges the crown. Yep. Look at the top 7 cards of your Atlas. Put one of those cards on the top and the rest on the bottom. I'm pretty sure this is a Genesis effect. I think, once again, this is probably something that... This is either a Genesis effect or a tap effect. This is a card that I will have to message him about. Yeah. Yeah. I'll just remember. I'll just remember to send him a message about that. This card's amazing. Craterize. It costs 9 to play. It has 3 little pips. Elite magic of cataclysmic proportions. Destroy target site and everything on it, and deal damage around the destroyed site. So the damage around the site, I'm pretty sure it's technically splash damage, and I think that's something he's going to update. I already asked him about Craterize specifically. I basically asked if it says it deals damage in an area like this, I assume it's splash damage because it's hitting everything, right? Even though it doesn't say splash damage, I assume it says that. So that's one of the kind of the things that I brought up and asked him about. But look at this, yeah, blows up the site and then deals like a ton of damage around it. Robin did this to me, which was gross. House Arn Bannerman. So this is a 4-drop, 2 attack, requires 2 threshold. An exceptional mortal holds your banner high. Nearby friendly minions gain +1 power. So this is another card I asked him about. It should be other nearby minions gain +1 power. So doesn't pump himself. Earthquake. This card is nuts. So this is a 5-drop, 2 earth pips. Terrible, violent, and severe elite magic. Target a block of 4 locations. Bury all grounded minions on affected non-water sites. You may rearrange the placement of those sites within the block. So bury means burrow. This is another thing I asked them about because I wasn't sure what bury meant. Bury means burrow. So you put them under the thing. And like I said, if they don't have burrow, they are stuck underground. Really cool. Really good way to just make your opponent's minions get stuck permanently burrowed. And yeah, you can also rearrange some sites. Really cool. We have Belmont Longbowman, 3-drop, 2 attack. Ordinary mortals of great skill, just range +1. That's pretty good. We got some Cave Trolls with Drew Tucker artwork. 3-drop, 3 attack, and it also has burrowing. Pretty simple card. Ordinary monsters digging in the dirt. Oh, we have Crusade. Okay, this card's also nuts. So Crusade, it's a 2-drop, requires 2 earth threshold, a unique aura to reclaim the Holy Land. Conjure on 2 or 4 sites, of which at least 1 is an earth site. Affected earth minions gain +1 power and have sacrifice, you gain 3 life. Gross. So yeah, you can play this like in the middle and then pump up all your dudes around it. This plus a couple other cards, her minions were absurdly powerful. I was playing with the wind deck. It got to the point where she just way outclassed me. I got her to 0 with a card in this deck with some trickery, but she ended up winning because her stuff was so strong. And like I said, when you get an avatar to 0, you still have to deal a death blow to them. And I got her to 0, but it didn't matter because she can protect her stuff so well that I couldn't deal that death blow. I was waiting to get a spell to do it. Got some boars. We have the Autumn Unicorn, very, very simple card. 3-drop, 4 attack, which is pretty good rate. An ordinary unicorn holds its ground. And look at that beautiful artwork, very classic style. Royal Bodyguard, Liz Danforth artwork, 4-drop, 3 attack. So it has iron skin, so it takes 6 to kill. It's an elite mortal of steadfast duty. You may move any damage from a nearby avatar or royalty onto the bodyguard. Ugh, this card is so annoying. This card is so annoying. We have Atlas Wanderers, one of the most flavorful cards in the whole game. So 4-drop, 3 attack. Elite Mythics and Eternal Bearers of the World. Iron Skin, so it takes 6 to kill. The Wanderers may carry its site with it as it moves. So this is a card that I had to ask questions about because I was like, what does that even mean, right? What does carrying the site mean? Does it carry everything with it? Do the other things stay? Like, how does it work? What if I move into a site that has, what if I move to a place that has a site already? So basically, what this actually means is if you move into a void site, it will shift that entire location and everything on it into that void location. If you move to a location that already has a site on it, it doesn't do anything at all. Yeah, so some clarifying rules. We have the Frontier Settlers. There's a 3-drop with 1 attack, exceptional mortals of sweat and survival. These settlers may explore and settle an adjacent empty location. Placing the top site of your atlas there. Once settled, they can't move away. So basically, you can't do this the turn they're played. There's another thing I had to ask, is this considered like a tap effect or anything? It basically is. And when you move to that location, you immediately just get the top card of your atlas, just pops it right on down. Yeah, great card. Really helps like you further your plans. Here we have that mountain giant we talked about. Yeah, he's huge and very hard to deal with. But what's really funny about the mountain giant, since he takes up so many squares, AoE damage deals damage. Oh, so like a fireball, for example, right? The fireball did like 4 damage here, and then 3 here, and 3 here, and like 1 here. You would add them all up. So he would take what, 4, 7, 10, 11. He would take like 11 damage total. So yeah, downside and upside. Upside is that since he takes up so many spots, he can attack like to absurd degrees. But yeah, he can't attack all 4 at the same spot, but he just takes up so much space that he can attack like whatever one he wants, and he can also block whatever one he wants to. He's a big chunky boy. We have Amazon Warriors, very simple card, 5/5. Yep, that's it. Ordinary Mythics preparing for war, beautiful artwork. Another unicorn with beautiful artwork, very much reminds me of Quentin Hoover, very much. Queen of Midland, this card is also quite good. The king and queen in this set are quite good. So 4-drop, 1 attack, a unique mortal at the center of attention. At the start of your turn, if the queen occupies one of the 2 middle locations and is uncontested, wait, I said that weird. At the start of your turn, if the queen occupies one of the 2 middle location and is uncontested by an enemy on its site, draw a card. Really good. So this is a card that just lets you get value over time. Got some more cave trolls, stone gaze gorgons. 7-drop, but only 2. But adjacent minions are petrified. They lose all abilities. Adjacent minions. So that means minions in all of the cardinal directions, they're all petrified. So this is an absurdly difficult card to deal with. You're going to have to do some sort of extra range shenanigans to shoot like an extra range away or attack diagonally. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Enlarge, so 0 cost, but you have 3 threshold. Exceptional quick magic of great magnitude. Target minion gets +7 power. Pretty sure that's just until end of turn. But it's a quick, so when your opponent's attacking you, you can be like, nah, my dude gets like +7. He's a big boy now. And you can kill their guy. Pretty good. Barry. This is a card where I had to set a whole thing. I had to ask about specifically. So Barry, it's a, okay, we'll just read it as. So 2-drop, 1 threshold, ordinary magic one hopes to never experience. Target minion on a non-water site is buried. And I was like, what does bury mean? Is it like Magic the Gathering where bury means destroying can't be regenerated? What it literally means here is burrowed. So it just burrows the dude. So that basically means if they don't have burrowing, they're just permanently stuck there. So yeah, that's what it does. Because like the question came up, I was like, it probably just means destroy can't be regenerated. But Robin was like, well, what about minions that can burrow? What if they're already underground? That doesn't make any sense. And I was like, yeah, you're right. That doesn't make any sense. Let me ask him. So this is one of the cases where like you shouldn't really assume what a card does based on other card games that you know. We have more Longbowmen, the range +1, more Settlers. Ooh, Spear of Destiny. So this is a 4-drop. A unique relic guided by divine providence. This card is sweet. So it says the bearer has tap, throw the spear in a cardinal direction. It continues until it reaches a minion or the edge of the world. If it reaches a minion, kill that minion. If there are several minions on the same site, the thrower chooses which minion to kill. Yeah, it just kills anything. Just yeet it and kill a dude. We have some Amazon Warriors, Barry, Autumn Unicorn, ooh, Pudge Butcher with gross artwork. So it's a 5 attack, 4-drop, an exceptional monster of sloth and greed. Immobile. Tap, the Butcher hooks one of the closest minions of your choice in a cardinal direction and drags it to his location. If it's an enemy, they fight. Yeah, I mean, exactly what you think it would do, right? It's got a hook. You just hooks them and brings them on in. Pretty cool. This guy's nuts. So this is the Raytanis Titan. 9-drop, so you gotta know it's nuts with a 9-drop. 7 attack. An elite mythic makes an epic entrance. Splash damage. Genesis. This Titan deals 7 damage on the site in front of it. And that's 7 splash damage. And I think it deals splash damage every time it attacks too. So you play this and it's like, boom, your entire site takes 7, and 7's a big deal in this game. And then your next turn, you can be like, yeah, I'm gonna come in for another 7. Really good. Really, really good. Next up, we have the Conqueror Worm, another really big boy. There's a 9-drop, 7 again. An elite monster subjugates this realm. Burrowing. This worm can move between non-water sites while burrowed. So, once again, normally you cannot move between sites while you're burrowed, but this one can. You control the worm's site. Gross. So you can move into your opponent's site and be like, nah, this is my site, which is great. We got another Pudge Butcher. Ooh, Entangle Terrain. Awesome looking artwork by Drew Tucker. So it's a 4-drop, 2 threshold, an ordinary aura of immobility. Play at the intersection of 2 or 4 sites of at least one is an earth site. Minions in the affected sites are grounded and can't move, and that is an aura. It is permanent. Also, gross. This card's also gross. There's a lot of gross cards in this earth deck. I think this earth deck's really good. King of the Realm, 7-drop with 2 threshold, 4 attack. A unique mortal with a true claim to the throne. All other mortals gain 2 power. You control all mortals in play. Yeah, I was playing with my win deck. Robin drops this guy, gains control of all my archers, and they're all like super buffed up. Yeah, that was a rough game. That was a rough game. Great card. And then another Cave Trolls. Yeah, so I hope you're at this point, if you're watching this far. By the way, let me know if you've watched this far. But if you have watched this far already, please let me know what you think. We have one more deck to cover, but I hope this gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. This game is absurdly flavorful, an incredibly fun game to play. There's so much like cool interactions you can do. It's just an absolute blast. And I can't wait to see more cards to expand, your territory in more ways. And oh man, I'm so freaking stoked with this game. Anyway. Here is the Avatar of Wind, your avatar of knowledge and power. Spellcaster. Tap to play a site or to draw from your atlas. You may move the avatar to a nearby site once per turn. Pretty good. So you get basically a free move with your Avatar of Wind every turn. That's actually really good for setting up different plays and moving them around and then shooting off spells. So quite good. Let's take a look at the atlas first, and we'll take a look at the main deck. So the atlas, this deck's all about like ramping. But it's like temporary ramp. So it's not like the Settlers, where the Settlers, like, you get a permanent location. It's like you get a little bonus. So Lone Tower, an ordinary site of haunting wind. Genesis, gain 1 mana until end of turn. So you just kind of gain an additional mana. And like I said, when you play a site, you get that for that turn as well. So this would actually net you 2 on the turn that you play it. We have a Gothic Tower, same thing. Gain a resource, gain a mana. Great Wall, this card is freaking awesome. An elite site of stalwart safety. Great Wall. There is a wall in front of this site that blocks enemy ground minions, extended 1 step to the sides. So say you play your wall here, it's gonna block minions here, but it extends 1 step to the side, so it blocks all 3 spaces, and they can't get in. Pretty sweet, huh? I think it's really cool. Once again, the grid, placement, it all really matters. It all plays so well with, how attacking and then flying and just, area of effect stuff. It's so sweet. So this is another tower, Black Tower, gain 1 mana. Gain 1 mana. Observatory, Genesis. Look at the top 4 cards and put them back in any order. So this card does not specify of what deck. I assumed it means your spellbook. Your spellbook? Basically your main deck, right? Your spellbook, yeah, that's what it's called. But it doesn't specify, so it could be either, the way it's written. There's another card that I guess I'd have to ask questions about. Which one does it actually mean? It's an exceptional site to study the future and the past. It could be either. Could just be either. But yeah, great stuff. Cloud City. Love the freaking artwork on this card. Unique site, lofty and ever fleeting. So if you have 2 wind threshold, once during your turn, you may move the city to a free adjacent location. Pretty cool for expanding your territory and stuff. We have Updraft Ridge, a site with exceptionally advantageous tailwind. So it says, Genesis, you may move nearby minions with airborne up to 2 steps. So you play it and move your dudes. Pretty good. We have another, oh yes, it gain 1 mana until end of turn. You had to write it in. Mountain Pass, an exceptional site of narrow access. This looks freaking awesome too. Once again, the flavor in the art is so good. Only one ground minion at a time may occupy the site. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting site. It could be like both easily defensible and not easily defensible. It's very interesting. We have another Gain of Mana, another Mountain Pass, another Updraft Ridge, another Tower, and then Watchtower. This is another good one. An exceptional site with Vigilant Watchman. Nearby enemy stealth is negated. So what stealth does is when you play the minion with stealth, basically it can't be attacked or targeted until it attacks. And then it's not in stealth anymore. And then another Lone Tower. I think the only stealth minion is, I think they're just in here, which is interesting. I don't think there's really any stealth minions in the other decks. All right, so let's take a look at this deck. This will be the last deck we take a look at. We're starting off with Thunderstorm. It's a pretty spicy one to start with. So it's a 5-drop, 2 threshold, 2 win threshold. An exceptional aura strikes with impunity. Conjure at the intersection of 4 locations, of which one is a win site. At the start of your turn, move the Thunderstorm 1 step in a random cardinal direction and deal 3 damage to target minion in the affected site. Determine the direction by rolling a d20, and then it kind of tells you how to move. If it moves so that part of it's outside, if it moves so that part of it is outside of the playing field, discard it. So say it's here and it moves down here, then it goes away. But man, that's so good. That's so good. The fact that it says target minion can be a little rough. It's not target enemy minion, it's just target minion. So you can blast your own dudes if you're not careful. Next up we have Nightmare. 7-drop, 4 attack. By the way, I think this deck, out of all of the ones, I said the water and the wind are the trickiest. I think the wind is probably the hardest deck to win with. The water deck has some like big beefy dudes and some tricky stuff. This deck, well, you'll see, does not have as many big beefy dudes. So this is a 7-drop with 4 attack. An elite spirit that torments and terrifies. Has Void Walk. It says, whenever this nightmare moves to a location, you may move other nearby minions except undead spirits and demons 1 step away. So they all run away from it. Once again, super flavorful. We have the Grand Master Wizard, Spellcaster, Genesis, draw 3 cards. A unique mortal of true arcane expertise. Pretty good, draws you 3 cards. 7 drops a little rough, but still quite good. We have Lightning Bolt. So this is a 0 cost, magic of a quick and fickle nature. This bolt deals 3 damage to any target. XX damage is dealt to the owner of the site the target is on. This is what I was waiting for to finish off Robin when she was at 0, because it just deals 3 damage. Doesn't have any range restrictions, doesn't have any like, you can just boom, anything takes 3 damage, which is really good. Ball Lightning. So it's a 4-drop, requires 4 pips, like 4 threshold. I keep calling them like pips and different stuff. 4 lightning threshold. Relentless and unstoppable exceptional magic. Launch the ball in a cardinal direction from the spellcaster. It deals 7 damage to the first avatar or minion it hits. 7 damage is a lot. Excess damage carries on to whatever it hits next. When it runs out of damage or hits a void, destroy it. This card's nuts, and it's awesome. We have Waypoint Portal, another freaking awesome card. So this is a 3-drop, exceptional magic of dimensional domination. 2 target sites are adjacent until end of turn. Draw spell. That's awesome. That's just really cool. Oh, I'm a target location here and your target location there. They're adjacent. Move my dudes over there. You can do a lot of cool shenanigans with this, especially like picking up the Curiosas. If your opponent like plays the Curiosa, you know, the card that you get to, the card where you like, if you pick it up, you draw 3 cards. Well, if they leave there sitting over in the corner, you can waypoint your location to their location and then, you know, teleport over there and pick it up, draw some cards. Ooh, Grim Reaper. So this is a 3-drop with 0 attack, but that doesn't really matter. There's a unique minion nobody can escape from. Void Walk and Immortal. Immortal does exactly what you think it does. It is immortal. Summon this Reaper to a random location determined by rolling a d20, which is why these all have numbers on them. Roll a d20, it goes to that location. When the Reaper enters the same site as another minion, kill that minion, then place the Reaper in your cemetery. So, you can end up killing your own guys if you roll bad and it ends up in your spot. Yeah. We have Peregrine Apparition, 4-drop, 1 attack, airborne, and it moves freely. So it can just kind of like fly around. Exceptional Spirit of Transcendent Velocity. Overall, there's not a lot of high attack minions in this deck. Okay, this is how I got Robin to 0. Devil's Egg. There's Devil's Egg. Oh, Angel's Egg. Yeah, so we got the eggs here. We got the Deviled Egg. So 2-drop, an Elite Relic, a direful row of ruination. At the start of your turn, the owner of the site the egg is on loses 2 life. So basically what I did is I just got the egg, carried it over to her site, and I just had the minion just sit there. And it took her, too many turns to get over there. It ended up doing like a ton of damage to her. And yeah, they got her to 0. I still lost, but because it makes your opponent lose life, so I still had to deal her the death blow, deal the damage. Angel's Egg, this is the opposite. At the start of your turn, the owner of the site the egg is on gains 2 life. And so I gained a bunch of life. Basically, she ended up killing my guy and then taking it over to my site and just killing me with her big beefy dudes. I had like 30 something life because of the Angel Egg. So really sweet. Oh, and it's an Elite Relic, a Rebirth of Hope. Yeah, so got some double egg action. We have a Cloud Spirit. The art on this card is hard to tell. Robin kept thinking it was a location, and it kind of looks like a location. You can see the outline of the spirit here in the clouds. So very, very simple card. It's a 2/2, airborne and movement +2, so it can move quite far. An ordinary spirit soars in these skies. Headless Haunt. Look at the art on this card. 3-drop, 5 attack, Void Walk. An exceptional spirit defies time and space. At the start of your turn, determine a random location by rolling a d20. Teleport the Haunt there. Yeah, there's another one where you just roll a d20 and boom, your guy appears there. Sling Pixies. Pretty good card, actually. It's a 1-drop, 1 attack. Ordinary Mythics, Flutter Forth. Airborne and range +1. Really good combination. These pixies are immune to minions with 4 power or greater. Great card. So you can, like I said, if they have airborne and ranged, that means they can attack diagonally. So it's a great card for finishing dudes off or doing like directed damage to sites. So if your opponent has an undefended site, you can just be like, oh, I range attack it for 1. This is a good card for dealing damage. Not great other than that, but pretty good. Snow Leopard, once again, this is one of the basic cards. 1-drop, 2 power. This is an ordinary beast, prowls the ice and peaks. Chain Lightning. So Chain Lightning is interesting because it specifically says minions, so I don't think it affects avatars. I think if it says any target or uses the word avatar, it can affect your avatars, but if it says minions, it cannot affect the avatar because the avatar can do things that minions can do, but they are not a minion. All right, so this is a 2-drop, has a 2 threshold, exceptional sequence of magical arcs. Chain Lightning deals 3 damage to a minion near your spellcaster. You may pay the casting cost again to repeat this effect with a starting point at the last targeted minion as many times as you want. This card is great. You can deal a ton of damage, especially if you can just like arc it around in a circle if you have a lot of resources. So great card. Next up is the Spiral Lich. 2-drop, 3 attack, spellcaster, range +1. Summon the Lich only on your tower, and we had a lot of towers that you saw. The Lich can't move, so it's very powerful, has pretty good range, but it can't move. Also has amazing artwork. An exceptional undead watches over the realm. Midnight Rogue. I need an altar that has the Red Zone Rogue character on here. 2-drop, 2 attack. An ordinary mortal lurks in the dark. Stealth and lethal. Really good. Like I said, stealth means your opponent can't attack it or target it until it pops out of stealth. So, quite good. Dead of Night Demon. It's a 2-drop, 2 attack. An ordinary demon stalks the witching hours. Just has stealth. So as you can see, there's some cards that are like basically like strict upgrades. I think, the rogue is a strict upgrade to the demon. But so anyway, we have the Spectral Stalker, another 2/2. Just an ordinary spirit stalks this neighborhood. Awesome looking artwork, just has Void Walk. It's a pretty simple card. Nimbus Djinn. So this is a 6 cost, 4 attack, an exceptional spirit of turbulent terror. Airborne and a spellcaster. It's pretty good. I have another Chain Lightning, another Lightning Bolt, Hounds of Ondaros. We used this as an example earlier. 8-drop with 2 threshold, 5 attack. No place is safe from these elite demons. Airborne, Void Walk, Burrowing, Submerged, Nearby Stealth is negated. So we kind of went over all these mechanics. You can just do it all. You can run, but you cannot hide. Another Spectral Stalker. Blink, this is kind of like that dodge roll. 0 cost, ordinary, quick, short distance magic. Move target friendly minion to a nearby site. If Blink is cast on your turn, draw a spell. That's pretty good. Another Midnight Rogue, another Headless Haunt, Plume Pegasus with art by Melissa Benson. 3-drop, 2 attack, just has airborne. Another Plume Pegasus, another Blink, another Cloud Spirit, another Snow Leopard, another Spectral Stalker, another Lightning Bolt. Kite Archer, this card's pretty good. 2-drop, 1 attack, but it has range +2, and it says the archer may move 1 step at the end of your turn. An exceptional mortal hits and runs. So you can like shoot and then move backwards to get him out of range. Pretty good. And then Apprentice Wizard. I think this card's fantastic. 3-drop, 1 attack, an ordinary mortal untrained in restraint. Spellcaster, Genesis, draw a spell. And that is going to do it. That is my deep look at Sorcery Contested Realm. I hope you liked this video. It was kind of a long one, but like I said, I really believe in this game. This game is an absolute blast to play. If it becomes a thing, and I really think it is going to become a thing, I'm probably going to design my own playmat for fans of the channel and fans of Sorcery. And so you can buy like a Red Zone Rogue Sorcery playmat. I would love to do that. Probably not, you know, unofficial playmat, but yeah, I think this game is going to be fantastic, especially for people who love this kind of thing, but also for people who are not into, you know, competitive trading card games, because there's a lot of just like really flavorful stuff, like flooding the world and eating your giant with my toad. Like it's just, I can't understand how much fun it is. I want to play this more, like right now. I want to play this right now. I cannot wait to see more cards. I cannot wait to get my hands on more cards and to just check everything out. And I know I'm doing my part to help make this as successful as it possibly can be. Hopefully a lot of you out there will share this video to your friends, to people who might like this, and hopefully they like this kind of like deep dive video. I wanted to be raw. I wanted you just to see everything that I have and to see the cards and to kind of get an idea of how things are played. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what you think of Sorcery Contested Realm in the comments down below. I'm going to be reading all of them, responding to them. Like I said, I'm giving direct feedback to the creators of this game, and I'm incredibly honored to be part of this process. And yeah, I think the future is radiant for Sorcery Contested Realm. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time.